It is week 9 of the NFL, and what are we going to choose this week? What bets do we have lined up this week? We have some interesting ones, but before then, let's get to the week 8 recap. And I'm going to go over the bets I made last week, and I was one for 3, so 1 win, 2 losses, and we'll go over why. The first one is the Dolphins at the Falcons. I had the Falcons at -7.5 for -110 odds. That was absolutely crazy game. I watched a condensed game of that, and I gotta say, if you're a Dolphins fan, you gotta be excited about it. The reason for that is that's the first time the Dolphins felt like they were an actual team. You saw people flying around on defense everywhere. Offense was clicking. There are a few moments here or there that are a little bit questionable on decisions of Tua and what he decided to throw. But other than that, it was smooth sailing for the Dolphins. And one thing I did get right about this one was Tua was going to have to throw a bit. He did, and he looked awesome out there. I mean, his stats were unbelievable that game. I believe 4 touchdowns against the Falcons. And the most important part was the Dolphins having the worst run defense up to that point in the league stopped Bijan Robinson, and that decided the game, really. Without Bijan Robinson and Michael Penix was out, you got Kirk Cousins back there. Short week to prepare, I guess, if you're Kirk Cousins starting and getting those reps that you need. It did not look good. Once they stopped that run, the Dolphins looked physical. They looked energized. They looked lively. You saw some life out there for the Dolphins. And as a Dolphins fan, you got to be excited about that game. You got to take them. W's are hard to come by in the league. So when you get a W like that, especially in that fashion, you got to be especially excited for that. Next one is we have Giants at the Eagles. I took the Giants plus 7.5. It was not enough. The Eagles, they adjusted their game plan. And this was something I did mention that the Eagles were going to do. And I should have trusted myself a little bit more and trusted my intuition and thought that, that game plan could work against the Giants. The Eagles are going to shift. The Eagles' talent is just going to take over from there. And what I mean was that the Eagles had a monster rushing game. You got 150 yards from Barkley rushing. The Eagles held the Giants to below 70 yards in rushing. The Giants, last time they met, had a great rushing attempt. It's a little bit, it's sad to see what happened with Scadaboo out there. Hope he has a swift recovery and bounces back next season. It seems like he's going to be out for the entire season or the rest of the season, which is a big blow to the Giants. But regardless of that, I mean, the Eagles just controlled the game. They looked dominant out there. It may be a little bit of that A.J. Brown stuff. Without that distraction on the field, the Eagles were just able to put the blinders on, focus on what they needed to do, and that was it, And Jalen Hurts, as much as people like to drag on him for not being a throwing quarterback and all these things, he did phenomenal. He's just a consistent QB, and he does what he needs to do for that W, and the Eagles just absolutely trounced the Giants. Third one here on the recap. So those first two, I lost the bets. I chose the wrong side of this. On this third one, I got this one right. I chose the Bucks -4.5 against the Saints for a -108 odds. And the Bucks put a lot of pressure on the Saints. 8 QB hits, 5 sacks. They got 2 interceptions as well. The defense did, and the Saints just struggled to score. This is something that I did notice when I was looking at this game and at this spread, was that the Saints struggled to score. They're the 4th lowest in the league in points per game, and because of that, you got the bake show on one side, and that was it. The Buccaneers got that done. Always trust Baker. Always put your trust in the Buccaneers. They're a team that has gone under the radar for a very long time, but they're actually quite consistent, and they get to the playoffs very consistently as well. So that's a team that doesn't get enough love from the NFL and from people. Teams wise, they're always lurking, they're always there, and they're always going to be consistent in their games. So I got that one correct. So I'm 4 and 5 4-5 on the season, 4 wins, 5 losses on my bets. Before I get into this week's bets, let's look at some bets that I took a quick peek at, and I said, you know what, I'm going to stay away from these. So the very first stay away bet is going to be the Ravens -7.5 at the Dolphins. The Dolphins just had a monster game. Are they going to be able to carry that momentum or not? We don't know. The Ravens, is Lamar still out? Is he going to play? There's some little fishy stuff going on there. And is the Ravens defense back on track? We do not know. We need a little bit more games to kind of see what's going on there. And of course, you have a variable in Tua on the Dolphins side. Is he going to be awesome this game as he was against the Falcons? Maybe that puffy eye helped them out against the Falcons. It's kind of like putting blinders on, and he just saw the field clearly without any of the peripherals and seeing, defenders this way and overthinking. Maybe that helped them. Who knows? So puffy eye Tua might be something that you may need to watch out for. No, but all jokes aside, this one has way too many variables to decidedly say that's a big spread, by the way. 7.5 points, that's more than a touchdown. I'm just not confident that the Ravens would be able to put that on the Dolphins. Next stay away game, Chiefs at the Bills. There is a 2.5 point spread. The Chiefs are favored in this one, even though they are traveling to Buffalo. And I don't have any stats or anything else to say about this game. The only reason I put this game as a stay away game is because we should just enjoy the game. Why bet on something and worry about the bet and, all these things when you can just enjoy the game of football? Chiefs and Bills every year is a classic. Playoffs, regular season. Just enjoy the game. Who cares about the spread? Who cares who wins unless you're fans of, both of those teams? Just enjoy the game. That is why this is a stay away game for me. Do not want to worry about anything else when watching this game. I just want to watch football. You know what I mean? All right, now to my very first bet of week 9 in the NFL. I got the Vikings at the Lions. I chose the Lions -8.5, which is a hefty spread for a -110 odds. The reason for that is a little bit of inconsistency on the Viking side. You got JJ coming back. JJ McCarthy on the Vikings side. But he's returning from an ankle injury. We do not know what his mobility looks like. We do not know if that's going to impact his mechanics when he's throwing. And the Lions are tied for 5th in the league in sacks. Returning JJ to this game against the Lions, I understand it's a divisional game, but the Vikings, that might be a bad decision. The Lions literally just extended Aiden Hutchinson 4 more years, highest paid non-quarterback in the league now. And I think it's just going to be a lot of trouble for J.J. McCarthy there. The Lions defense is a little bit better than what has been shown thus far in the season. Also, the Lions are coming from a bye. Their team is getting healthier. They did need that bye. That bye came at a very good time, against, they just played the Bucs before then. And it's just a good time for the Lions to have that bye, get healthy on defense. They're getting Brian Branch back. They're getting a lot of their defenses guys healthier, and it's going to be good for the Lions on the long term. And the Vikings, getting a little bit more into the game-specific things, the Vikings have a below-average run defense. You have Gibbs and Montgomery on the Lions side, arguably the best running back duo in the league. That's going to cause a lot of trouble for the Vikings. The Lions are just going to be able to control this game, and they're going to be able to take shots, rush all the way down the field. They have a pretty good kicker, the Lions do, and they're just going to score points on the Vikings. The Vikings, I think, are going to struggle to keep up with the Lions, and that is why I'm confident that the Lions are able to put more than 8.5 points on the Vikings. It could be a 10-point game, and that's all we need. All right, next game. And this next one, I'm not sure why Vegas is so hesitant on the Colts. The Colts are an incredible team. They are arguably the number 1 team in the AFC. So I'm taking Colts -3 against the Steelers for -115 odds. The Colts, as I said, last week, it was 2 weeks ago when I took the Colts in a different bet. They have the most prolific offense in the league. The Steelers' defense does not look great. They have a below average defense all around, and they're actually worst in the league in pass yards per game on defense. The Steelers are. So the Colts being the most prolific offense in the league, Daniel Jones is a lot better than people think. Behind that powerful O line, behind that incredible running back, I think Daniel Jones is due for a massive game. I wouldn't say due. I think that's bad wording. It's more showing the league that, yeah, I'm Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones. Trust me, trust this team. I think this is going to be a wake up call for the league. And -3 is, I do not understand the spread at all. This should be at least -3.5. A field goal just for a push seems pretty easy to take the Colts here. The one thing that the Steelers can do to interrupt the Colts here is they could take shots downfield. Aaron Rodgers has shown, especially against the Bengals, that he is not afraid to take shots downfield. He has that arm still. He could still sling it. It's still Aaron Rodgers in that perspective. However, in order to pass down the field, what do you need to have? You need to have a little bit more time in the pocket. Aaron Rodgers has the whole game plan for the Steelers thus far was play action, just do some short throws, check downs, open things, simple, keep it easy, and let's hope our defense can keep up. That was what Aaron Rodgers signed up for. That is not what Aaron Rodgers is getting now. Their defense is not that good. And against the Colts, you're going to have to be aggressive. The Steelers are. And Mike Tomlin is not an aggressive guy. He doesn't go for it on fourth down. In fact, I think he's like way, way far and away the most conservative head coach in the league when it comes to fourth downs. They're going to have to do a few of these in this game if they want to beat the Colts. And I want to give you one surprising stat, or I guess a couple, about Daniel Jones. This season, Daniel Jones is top 5 in quarterback rating and is number 2 in the league in QBR. He is on a trajectory similar to Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. However, he is on the Indianapolis Colts, and that roster is mega. You have an amazing O-line. You have an amazing running back. Though that combination of weapons and protection, Daniel Jones is going to have a great time against the Steelers defense. He's going to be able to throw it like no one has ever seen against the Steelers. And it's going to be, I think, in my opinion, going to be a statement game where the Steelers team, is good, is decent. However, the Colts are going to show the league that there's levels to this, right? That the Colts are up here, while the Steelers are, in the middle. That is what this game is going to be about. And this should be an interesting game to watch. But this is an easy take for me. Colts -3. Now, last game that I'm choosing to bet on is the Broncos at the Texans. This one can go either way, but this is an exciting one to kind of look at here. Oh, let me adjust something here. So the spread for this game is +1.5 points with Denver. However, I just decided to take Broncos straight up against the Texans. Broncos are underdogs in this game. The reason for that is a little bit of uncertainty on Bo Nix. What is he able to do against this great Texas defense? This defense is awesome. The Texans defense is. And also the Broncos do not have Pat Surtain. He's questionable. He is likely not going to be playing in this Texans game. I think I don't remember if he's confirmed to be out or not, but he's not going to be able to play in this Texans game. Now, this is going to be a very defensive game, defense versus defense, and the question of this game is going to be which defense is able to pressure the quarterback more? Is it going to be the Texans or is it going to be the Broncos? My answer to that question is the Broncos. The Broncos are going to have a lot of pressure on CJ Stroud and the Texans. I understand there can be a little bit of game planning around Pat Surtain. Maybe do some short throws, some quick throws to that side, to that corner, that backup corner. But still, I think the pressure, if you want to win this game, you're going to have to at some point take shots in this game. The Broncos defense is number 1 in the league in sacks so far this season. They have 36 sacks this season. That is absolutely crazy through 8 weeks. Bo Nix, on the other side, only has taken 8 sacks this season. The difference between the Texans and the Broncos here, they both have incredible defenses, is I'm looking at that offensive line on both sides. The Texans do not have a great offensive line. They have a bad offensive line. Going against that Broncos defense that pressures a quarterback, is able to get sacks at a incredible rate, versus Broncos, they have a great O-line. Bo Nix does not get sacked much. I understand Bo Nix, it's, rookie season, a little bit of variables there. But I have faith in the line of scrimmage and what that O-line is able to do for Denver. And on the other side, on the defensive side, what the Broncos defense is able to do to pressure the Texans and CJ Stroud and just stop their overall progress in the air. One thing I do have a little bit of uncertainty about in this game is that the Texans do have a positive or better turnover margin than the Broncos. That is one major thing, and it can come down to a turnover in this game. It could be an interception, it could be a fumble, who knows? But I do have trust, even though that stat or that statistic favors the Texans. I do trust the O-line of the Broncos to come through, provide great protection for Bo Nix against this tough defense, and they're going to be able to do Bo Nix, Sean Payton's going to be able to do some magical things in this game to close it out. So that is why I chose Broncos straight up against the Texans, underdogs, for plus 110. All right, those are my three picks this week. What do you think? What are you choosing? Do you like my picks? Do you have any other games that I should look at or that we should look at that you chose? Let me know, and I'll see you next week.